Okay, so we are back now. Keone getting his groove on.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for your patience. Oh my gosh, Marcus, yes, third time lucky. Fingers crossed. Hopefully it goes all good.
Yeah. Oh,
Jared fixing his hair.
no, fair enough. Okay.
Wait, Jared, you're still muted.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Oh. Bit of feedback, sorry, I was live listening. Anyways, making sure that we didn't have any technical difficulties. So, welcome back everybody to the second episode of Out of the Shadows. Sorry about the difficulties earlier. Lockdowns really made this a really tough one to do, but we are back live. So, we have myself, Opo and Keone, my friend over there to the right. If you could please introduce yourself again.
Yeah, I'm Drax. Hopefully everyone's okay. Thank you for bearing with us. And in the heavens, we've got T-Mod.
Hello. Hi, I'm T-Mod.
Sweet, cool. Sorry, we've already been through this, but we're just going to have a quick recap.
Just in case. Just in case.
Just in case anyone missed it.
Yeah, so episode 2, this is streaming in casual gaming in NZ. So, quick, we have a giveaway. So that's the 2 MSI loot boxes. So the way we're giving it out is when you see the MSI logo on the screen,
It'll look like this.
it'll look like that.
That one doesn't count.
Comment, was it hashtag Lucky Dragon?
Yeah.
Hashtag Lucky Dragon.
Comment hashtag Lucky Dragon in the chat. Be the first one, and then like the page as well. Like the page, and then one of our reps in the chat
We'll be in touch with you shortly.
We'll be in touch. Yeah. So we're talking about streaming and casual gaming in NZ. We were briefly mentioning Facebook gaming. Twitch gaming, how there are some streamers that are on Mixer, but then others are doing it through Facebook gaming, and you know, you're not as diluted in the scene with Twitch because on Facebook it's usually your close friends and family that are watching, so you're guaranteed that audience. You're not fighting against other people. We'll also be looking at our big boy SoleKefs. Be our guest today. Definitely, we don't want you guys to, we definitely have him here.
And well, just before we carry on, shout out to SoleKefs. Man is just sitting in the background with all of this stuff going on, and he's just like, yeah, it's all good. Don't worry about it. Like,
his reactions have been the funniest because obviously I can see him right now because we're on the site and it's crack up ass. He's just chilling there laughing. I can't wait to have him on and we can banter about that.
And you know what's worse is like, it's bad enough that Drax and Keone make fun of me. Now Gibbs is here too. Like, oh my life.
Make fun of you for what? Man, what? Nothing's happened. What would we make fun of? What do you mean? It's only 4 or 5 right now. We're on track. We're on schedule.
Should we just jump into like SoleKefs?
Yeah,
you know what? Let's do that. Let's jump into the interview because it was meant to be around 4:30 anyways, and we're kicking off. We stuff before it. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the ever so
amazing,
ever so amazing, the vocal chocolate,
mystical man,
the
brown sugar. See, your Easter egg for Easter.
Wow.
Mr. SoleKefs.
What, you gonna put him in your mouth, Timo?
No. Okay. Oh. Get out, Drax. Get out. No. Okay, ready? Gifts, you ready?
Yo.
Hey, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Can I just start this off again by saying thank you for being
with us? Thank you so much.
This isn't what the first episode was like. This is just
yeah, of course, the first time we get a guest, all of these things happen.
I know, I've been through it. I know exactly, like I was saying before. Man, countless, I'm not even joking, countless hours over the time that I've streamed. We have technical issues and you know, Googling or like YouTubing and trying to figure out what's going on. Hey, I've been there. I know what it's like.
Oh, man,
cool.
all too familiar, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. So I think first off, we just sort of want to get to know you a little bit, and so if you just want to introduce yourself and maybe tell us a bit about how what sort of got you into streaming in the first place.
I guess a little bit about me. So I don't want to talk too much about me. My name or online is SoleKefs. Real name is Eli or Elijah. I grew up in West Auckland, a place called Massey. And I now live in the Gold Coast in Queensland. I've been here for probably about 13 or 14 years.
Yo.
I have a family, I got a wife and kids. I got 5 kids if people don't know. And yeah, they're running outside being crazy. I think because everyone's almost on lockdown and stuff like that, doing online school and whatnot.
Oh man.
But I think what got me into, I've always been into gaming since like way back when I was like 5. I got a Super Nintendo, and yeah, just jammed like games since way back then. I guess I always wanted to get into streaming and content creation and stuff like that, but I was really time poor. Probably like 3 or 4 years ago when I wanted to try and take it seriously. I've been streaming on Twitch for, geez, I think we were talking about it the other day, like me and chat. And I actually missed like a 2-year anniversary. I think it's like just over 2 years now. I kind of started out on Facebook ages ago, way before there was like stars, and it was very different to what it's like now. You couldn't even stream for longer than 4 hours back then as well. For like probably only like 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, and then switch across to Twitch. I knew about Twitch before, but I wanted to give Facebook a go before I jumped onto it. But predominantly streaming Fortnite when I first started, and then very recently maining Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone now. So done all sorts of stuff since then, joining an org, been to heaps of events, and be able to do stuff, cool stuff like this. So it's been crazy. But we keep going. We're still going. So
yeah, that's awesome to hear, man. What a what an introduction for a person.
There's a little bit about me.
Yeah, what?
Real quick.
I think the interesting thing I wanted to touch on real quick is while you're mentioning, you were saying you were time poor a few years ago when you wanted to first start, but now, I mean, married with kids, that must take up quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I guess if anything, I guess my background, like in career and stuff like that, I started out in telco. So people don't know like what that is, like working at like Vodafone and Telstra and stuff like that. So I used to do stuff like that. I switched to banking, so that's when I really wanted to get into like streaming and stuff like that. But yeah, then I used to leave home when it was dark, get home when it was dark. But I was in banking for like almost 4 years. And then it wasn't until I had my most previous job, which was at Apple. So I used to work from home, just doing tech stuff for Apple. So it made it a lot easier because I'd like literally finish work and then jump onto another computer, which is behind me and stuff like that. And then I could start streaming because I didn't have to commute or anything like that, which gave me a lot more time. So that's when I kind of really started getting into it. So I was working full time and then streaming, pretty much, probably 4 or 5 hours a night. And it was just no lifing it really.
Yeah,
spending time with kids, and then that was my life for like a year and a half, or a good year at least.
And like,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Some of the established streamers we have in the country, we've kind of mentioned them, like Prawlin and Glory Pops and Rudism. Who are some of the established streamers in the West Coast that you look up to, or do you take inspiration from?
Like around my ways, like Gold Coast and that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, what's the scene like up there? Like,
there's actually a lot. They actually had a what's it called? Gold Coast Twitch. I think Twitch Brisbane meetup. So it's like like an official Twitch meetup kind of thing, but like the Gold Coast / Brisbane. Brisbane version.
oh, yep. Where is it again?
Oh, this time. Wow. Okay. Hey, you wait. But like this. Oh man. I can think of the only ones that I know of. There's probably more that I don't know of. There's this dude named Noski he's actually originally from Christchurch, I believe, but he lives in the Gold Coast. There's a lot, but I just can't think on top of my head like exactly. But that's the first dude. If I think Gold Coast, that's the only other guy that I know. There's a lot of other people like even like poly community and stuff like that that I've been able to meet IRL as well. We'll have meetups and stuff like that. A lot of the West boys, West X Ragnar and them, also unknown. There's a lot of people in the poly community as well that I've been able to meet. Some of the area boys, I know that there's some people who may or may not know of these people I'm talking about, but there's a lot of people streaming on like both Twitch, Facebook. I guess just in the streaming, if we just call it a streaming community in general, there's actually quite a lot. But no, it's good.
Man, that's okay. It's so dope to hear there's a scene up there. Also, I'm hearing a trend is they apparently keep leaving New Zealand and become streamers over in Oz. Because I mean, yourself and then the other one you named, they're both from here. Maybe that's the bit I was missing. Maybe I didn't move over the ditch. I
moved here. When did I move? When I was like 15. Just my family that moved over when I was like young. Back then, I didn't want to go anywhere because I already had my friends and all that. And I guess if you think about it, like if you were to move a whole country when you're like around about 15, 16, it'll be like a massive like culture shock, shell shock to I don't know, to anyone. But no, we moved over when it was back then, and obviously I was into gaming and stuff like that, but I didn't know I was gonna be streaming. I didn't even know what I was doing back then. It was still young and silly.
Back
Yeah, fair
then,
enough.
like, what was your like dream? Like, what was your goal? Like, because obviously none of us knew what streaming was.
When I was younger, I guess the first kind of memory that I could have of like some type of career or I guess profession would be get into architecture.
Oh.
I guess I was always into drawing and calligraphy and that kind of stuff, and that was the only kind of in my head. Obviously, you can be like graphic designer and stuff like that, but I guess it wasn't like I guess digital art and all that kind of stuff wasn't as big as it is now with technology and how advanced it is back then, kind of thing. If that makes sense. So I don't know. That's like the only thing that I could think of back then, but I didn't end up doing that. So.
Damn, that's so dope though, architecture.
Yeah.
No, like that's such a cool thing to hear someone be into.
Yeah.
So I remember you mentioning that your first sort of game that you streamed was Fortnite. Is that right? Was the choice for Fortnite? Did you like was that your first choice for a game you wanted to stream, or was there maybe something else that you were looking to? But
like I've always kind of just been into like FPS games, stuff like that. I've always I like enjoyed the most per se. I like RPG games as well and stuff like that, and fighting games, racing games, stuff like that. But I think around that time it was PUBG. There was like that wave of PUBG, and that was like slowly, I don't know, slowly dying down a little bit. Fortnite was a little bit easier to run like on the PC. Like I've always just had like a single PC setup and stuff like that. And my setup was a little bit different back then. So I don't think I could run PUBG, and I actually got into Fortnite because there's one of my mates. I think he's actually streaming right now. Shout out to the bro. He I've been friends with him since I was like young, since like 5 years old, and because he's always been on console, there was no game that we could cross play and both play at the same time. And he was playing Fortnite, so I found a way. We found a way back then to cross play, and that's the biggest reason why I want to play Fortnite, because I just want to jam with him and get some games in. That was just the game that I was kind of playing at the time, and thought, hey, we'll just stream this then. So
dope. Yeah, crossplay is a big one. I've noticed that a lot of people gravitate. That's like because Warzone as well, because I know that's the main game. Like a lot of people. So I've got mates who like you'll talk a lot of smack, but can't actually play each other because of the platform difference.
Yeah. Oh, man. Just when you started streaming SoleKefs, like.
Yeah.
How did you like when you started streaming, did you see the impending challenge? Like, did you kind of go in just for fun, or were you aiming to make it something bigger? Like, what were the challenges you were facing early in your career?
Honestly, when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew in my head that I wanted to, like, you'd always jump on and jam with the boys, or your friends, or whatever. And there's always that banter and stuff like that. And we always thought in my head, like, why not share that? Why not, we could do this more socially, if that makes sense. But it's always been, even now, like a big thing for me is kind of creating a space where people can just come back and, kick back and chill. Everyone's equal. Nobody, if you have beef with someone like outside of the stream, both of you guys in the stream, none of that there. You know what I mean? It's just a space for people to come back, and if you've had like a long day at work, I've been there. I know exactly what it's like. You can just somewhere if you want to. It's just a space for you to come through and hang out, and if you want to get amongst, you're more than welcome. If you don't, that's cool. Like it doesn't affect me. It doesn't change my day or my stream in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, like I'm not gonna lie, and I have spoken to other people about it as well, especially people who I guess want to take streaming more seriously and get it into like a career where you can earn money and stuff like that. But like I know it sounds real cheesy to say, but it's never been about money or anything like that. It's always been more focused about just creating that space and having fun while streaming, and I guess helping other people where I can, and stuff like that. So, but I think the challenges were just man, if you go back and look at some of my first streams, it's like, man, I'm so quiet and like no idea what's going on. But just like anything else, after you do it, after some time, it becomes more natural and stuff like that. So I guess talking to chat, trying to figure out what to say, and just driving everything, because a lot of people don't understand it's a lot, like trying to drive Streamlabs and all the scenes that go on, as well as play the game at the same time, as well as keep up with chat and trying to do that. It takes a lot. So I guess you you know, you learn as you go, kind of thing. So
Just on a note, you've actually got a really nice, strong, soothing voice. Have you ever thought about doing any kind of voice work? No, I mean it, you know.
Drax, he's married, okay?
Hey, it's a compliment.
Yeah, remember off stream, Jax was talking about Easter egg chocolates and cereals and stuff, and then sort of threw that compliment to SoleKefs as well. But
I will not take any of the credit for that. I will give all the credit to this microphone right here. Big shout out, quick little plug to Blue. Shout outs to Pia Galeria and shout outs to Blue for sending this mic out to me. But seriously, if it's a serious question, no, I've never thought about that. I've never thought about it, to be honest. But yeah.
One of the things that I remember from your streams, gifts, especially your Fortnite ones, were your customs. Like your if you didn't know, SoleKefs' customs would go off, and like I feel like that's when you really started to pick up your pace and like people really came through. Like, how did you handle that, going from like slowly building your community to your community being just like massive in like a few games?
Oh geez, you just got to keep going. I think what it really comes down to is mindset. And I've showed this in one of my YouTube videos, like a vlog that I done a little while ago. I got like a whiteboard. I think a lot of people have this, some people might not. But like just like a whiteboard where I put like stuff that I need to do, if I have like goals, just stuff like that. The streaming stuff, that's where all that stuff goes. But along the top, I've written like in big letters, how bad do you want it? And it just, I guess, if anything, that just relates to the dream of doing this content creation and all that kind of stuff. And that's probably the first thing that I can think of when you ask that question is just, it's a lot of time put in, a lot of nights where you don't get much sleep. But I think it's just like anything else. Other people where they have dreams and stuff like that, and again, not to get too cheesy, but for the first time when I first started streaming and really properly getting into it, it was the first time where I thought like, damn, this is something that I really want to do. This is something that I really want to achieve and strive for. But I think to quickly answer that question is I just had to keep going. Like, you just can't stop. I guess for those who don't know what T-Mod is referring to, this was, I guess, when custom matches or custom matchmaking first came out in Fortnite. And there were very, very, very few people in Oceania, let alone the world. I think very few people in Oceania. I think back then when I first got it, there was probably five people in the whole of Australia and New Zealand that had access to this feature. And I was lucky enough to be one of them. And obviously hosting that, I think with Fortnite and the hype of how much it had, as well as being able to get into a game with other people that's in the community that you can know, and that there's the banter, talking trash and all that kind of stuff, and the competitiveness, mixed with a whole heap of other stuff. Big shout outs to the West Boys, like the community that they brought in, to push it even more. And we used to fill 100-man lobbies, and I'm not even joking, in like less than 10 seconds. It was that crazy.
Man,
like, I put the code out,
to be quick.
and then it would literally fill. Like, I would have to start the match before it gets to 100, or else the lobby would bug out. So it was that crazy. People would like sit there and wait for the next one so they could quickly put the code in before it. So it was crazy. It was insane.
And then like the other thing is like you didn't discriminate who could and couldn't come into customs. Like you had some of the top players in OCE who would constantly come to Gifts' customs versus like just your regular everyday players. And so like it was a great opportunity for just somebody who just plays every day to like, your goal was to beat the best. Like, if I even get you shot or if I get you down, that's like, oh my god, I just downed the biggest Fortnite player in OCE. Like, oh my god, this is a great accomplishment.
Yeah, and I guess to put it into perspective of people who may not, I know a lot of people would know, but for people that don't know, I guess these are like top tier pro players who are making like big bank now. Some of them on like big salaries just for playing Fortnite and stuff like that. So a lot of them fly overseas, and I'm privileged to say that I'm friends with a lot of them. And at the end of the day, they're just like either like young cats or just like guys who just like play video games like everyone else. I know there's a lot of ego and a lot of hype around Fortnite and that community and stuff like that. But I don't know. I've just always tried to treat everyone equally, and I don't know if they like that or not. I don't like fanboy or anything like that over them or anything like that. But they're just cool guys that just wanted to chill and kick back in some games, and I think that at the end that's what it was. But again, I was been able to have heaps of cool opportunities, including stuff like that. Be able to meet and play with those people on that tier. I'm more of a content creator, not pro player at all in any game that I play. So.
No, that's all good though, man. It sounds like you've been able to bring a lot of different communities together in there. I remember, just to share a quick story that I have with your channel specifically, you used to run these kill comps where you would lobby up with 3 people and then whoever get the highest kill. Yeah, so me and my mates used to wait, and I remember I came into your stream once and I like queued up, like it's a type of command or something, and I was like 48th or something, and I was like 48th, whoa, yeah, it was crazy.
Man,
it was so fun.
The community was actually asking, I might actually bring that same thing back because we don't have customs yet in Warzone. I might actually bring that back for Warzone. And in short, what that was is you can bring friends with you, come by yourself. Whoever got the most kills in one game throughout that whole night, I used to do it on Mondays. And it was 2 things. It was a cool way for like be a bit competitive and people to win some money or V-Bucks, whatever you want to call it. But just a way for me to kind of play video games with people to watch a stream. I know that sometimes it's when you stream and stuff like that, a lot of people in chat they say, "Oh, can I play with you?" and things like that. And honestly, the main reason why I thought of that idea, or the first reason why, is because I hate saying no to people, and it's hard, especially when you're streaming and stuff like that. And that was almost a way for me to go, "Oh, yes, you can play with me on Monday. Come queue up." And
yeah,
so it was like a way to kind of do that. And I guess it's cool, something to look, the community to kind of look forward to, and people who want some money for the sweaty guys out there that want to, or some people just wanted to jump in and just get a game, and which was always cool as well. So it was cool.
Actually, I just wanted to mention something quickly. It's just an incident that happened here briefly. It was to do with Rocket League esports comp that was basically match fixing.
Okay.
And, with the gambling, with gambling being involved, so this matter had to be treated very seriously. Because you're mentioning money. Because obviously you match, you can probably wager matches with friends. But what are your thoughts on gambling for gambling for actual competitive games? What's your take on that?
I think and I will just preface this firstly by saying I have no idea. Like I have a very, very little to no knowledge around gambling with video games and esports. I obviously know what gambling is and stuff like that. But as long as all the rules are followed, just like anything else, I'm a Libra, I'm very just in a lot of things, and if something doesn't add up and if something doesn't make sense or logically incorrect, it doesn't calculate with me properly, and I have to figure out why. So I guess sometimes can be a weakness, but as long as everything, just like everything else, as long as everything's fair, obviously there's rules around age and stuff like that, and there's as long as it's not dodgy. But as soon as things become unfair or dodgy or anything like that, that's where obviously people have problems. And when people are doing stuff that they're not supposed to do, with me, it's there should never be no if, buts, or maybes. It should always just be black and white. It shouldn't be oh, hang on, why is this? There shouldn't be any questioning and things like that. So I just really tried to answer that as best I could.
Tell me, bro. What's the biggest wager you've ever had in a game?
Like me personally?
Yeah, man. What have you had to
Has anyone thrown something your way, like a big number? Has anyone been yo, I'll put up 1K to play you one-on-one or something?
There's people all the time that there's people all the time that come, but you never know if it's
if it's legit.
Yeah, what the prince of what country you're talking to? I don't know. Now there's people. Yeah, people come in all the time. Far out. I don't know if it counts, but it probably doesn't count. But when I went to AO for Fortnite, obviously first place, it was money for charity. So I don't know if you'd count that as a wager, but I don't really wager anyone. So it's probably not. Probably nothing.
Would you? This is a legit question. Would you if someone if someone put up the money and had it legit, I don't know, did a call out video?
It depends. It depends what it is, and because I'm not a competitive player anyway.
No,
but it depends what it is. It depends what it is. And if it's for charity, most likely, if it's something for charity, I wouldn't mind.
Well, that's good to know. So, you guys, if you want to challenge him to a charity donation game,
Making videos now.
yeah, we can play for the cure for COVID or something.
Yeah, but you guys know it's like on the internet. It's like, man, people come and chat and they say all sorts of stuff. So,
Oh man, I had one time I was in Oz and I was playing at a net cafe in a random game, and the person I was playing against was talking heaps trash, and they were in the same net cafe. It was in Melbourne.
yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah. They were like in the same place, and I was like,
Well, speaking of like trash talking, like, did you have to deal with many trolls like in your stream or even in your games, like, and if you did, how did you handle that? Like,
on the daily, almost on the daily, but a lot of the time it's somebody who may not know the vibes in the stream, you know, and a lot of the time I would just ignore it. Unless, like, I guess if anything, like, we're talking about, this is what I tell other people as well. We're trash talking and stuff online. I'll never get offended unless a person actually knew me. Like, if some random came in and said, like, the biggest like, oh, you're fat or blah blah, you know, okay, that's easy to say online, like whatever. I just shrug it off. But if like one of my boys from like, you know, that I've known for years and years and said something, I'll be like, oh shit, like this is, oh sorry for swearing. I'll be like, oh dang, this is like, you know.
never apologize for swearing, my friend.
apparently it means you're a very honest person.
I'm trying to on my stream I swear way too much, I think. But yeah, like if it's just some random that doesn't know me from a bar of soap, like I just shrug it off. And sometimes either chat will flame them, or if you do the old kill 'em of kindness, they end up just staying. And man, I've even had sometimes people sub and stuff like that.
What the hell?
They feel stinking. They're like, oh man.
See, that's how you know you're a good streamer, when you take a troll and turn them into a sub.
Yeah,
But
so that's always that flex.
I think, and it just again, sometimes I maybe think too cheesy, but in my head I just think, and it's not all the time. I'm not like this all the time. But a lot of the time I just think in my head like, man, I don't know, this person could have had the worst day, and this is the way they're blown off steam. Just, you know, I think in my head like, you must be in a really low space to go into a random streamer's chat and say something bad about them, you know what I mean, to try and bring them down. So I don't know, that's just the thought process I have in my head. But again, I'm not like that all the time. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes if they come in, I'll just like flame them back or something like that. But a lot of the time, that's what I'll be like. I'll try and have that mindset, because man, you never know these days. There's a lot that goes on, especially with everything being online and digital and whatnot. So
yeah, but then in saying that, you can flip that around in that, you know, someone could be watching your stream because they're having a hard time, and you would seem like a good role model to watch on Twitch. You know, you're very friendly, very approachable. Have you ever had moments like that where someone's kind of turned to you for
oh man, I guess yeah, a lot. Not that I hate to what's it called, like make it sound like, oh, you know, the people like message me all the time. I don't want to be that guy, but no, but seriously a lot, and I kind of put that out there. Like me personally, myself, I've gone through depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. And I feel like sometimes it's something that's not talked about enough. I guess me being Polynesian male, you know, like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that people go through, and that, I guess that's why, coming back to what I was saying before about the stream just being a place where people can come through, hang out, and chill. Because we don't know, like you just never know. Somebody could just have the worst day. But yeah, people do message, and I try to get through to them. Like I try to message back and DM as much as I can, or, you know, people that come through. But yeah, people have, and yeah, I guess without going into too much detail, there's a lot that a lot of stuff like that people go through, and it's like just hearing that if my stream has helped in any way, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing, and it's just that puts more motivation to keep doing it. Like those days when you're like, man, I'm so tired, but you never know. There's literally been times like they were like, man, I'm not gonna stream, I'm too tired, and then like last minute I'm like, nah, I'll just turn it on, and then like after the stream there'll be someone that DM'd, there's someone will DM and just say like, thank you, blah 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 blah, and it's just like, oh, what the heck, it's crazy.
Well, I guess that actually is a really good segue into something I was going to ask you. I was going to say, a lot of streamers, especially early off in the career, and even some of the more veteran ones, I mean, you mentioned it sort of slightly too, a streamer fatigue.
Yeah,
like having to stick to that schedule, it's even real. Like through sort of like how do you deal with that? Because I've heard some stories about people, being too tired or something and still going through for their community. which I'm
Yeah.
sure you have. Do you have any tips on how to deal with that?
I guess it's a tricky one because I think that sometimes people can kind of mix up like the grind with with actually being giving your body a rest. It's a schedule definitely helps. A schedule definitely helps, and I guess this comes from trust me, guys, I get it. This comes from someone who used to do like full time, like 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, come home and literally, or when I was at Apple, so that's probably a better example. Like I'd have, when I finish work, half an hour to like eat, hang out with the family for a bit, and then go live. Like my audience is mainly in New Zealand, so at the time, like when there's like daylight savings, it's like 3 hours ahead. So if I'm like starting at like 8:30, that's like 11:30 New Zealand, which is real late. So that's why it gave me like not too much time to kind of get ready and turn the stream on straight away. So constantly doing that and like trying to stream like 4 or 5 days a week. It's real, man. It's real. I think if anything, make a schedule and stick to it. I know especially when you're starting out or even as you're like growing, I know that the excitement can get really real, really real, and streaming can be addictive. These are real things that I found out. And for whatever reason that you stream, like on your day off, you might be like, "Oh man, I should just stream." Like honestly, just take that time to rest. Whether it's just editing or whether it's just doing something completely opposite to stream, like just hanging out with family or like doing something away from the computer and stuff like that, or whatever you use. But rest is big. Having a schedule. I think those are like the main things. Just taking time for yourself. Even little things like staying off the social media for a bit, like because there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. I think people gradually learn that it's not just pressing a button and going live. Depending on what scale you want to take it, but there's a lot of stuff that kind of go into streaming. Going live is the fun part. That's the easy part. That's the part where you can chill. It's it's all the offline stuff, all the back-end stuff, social media and setting up like stream labs and whatnot, whatever you use.
Yeah, like literally today when we had to go live 3 times, like it's literally that.
It's a lot goes into it. A lot goes into it. So take that time to rest, like you deserve it. And stick to schedule. That's probably the thing that kind of saved me. And shout out to my wife. She was actually the one who thought, "Hey, you should do a schedule," and she made it for me back when I first started.
Oh, nice. Well, I was gonna ask, like in the early streaming days, like how did your wife and kids handle that? Like, dad comes home for like a few minutes after work and then he's gone again. Like how did that affect?
Honestly, because first off, she games and stuff like that. She's not as like hardcore into gaming like as I am. Like she plays video games and stuff like that though. But I think when I first started, and it is very strange, especially for those who may or may not be in a relationship and stuff like that. It is really weird if you're talking to like the opposite sex online. If you're lobbying up with them or if you're in a game with them, this is real stuff.
Facts.
It's like I think it was just explaining to her what it is and like you know what I mean, and it does sound real weird. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going online and talking to other people that I don't know from maybe the other side of the world." But I think just I don't know. I just invited her into the stream, tell her to jump in the stream and just see what it is. But it's explaining that it's explaining to them what it is and making sure they understand so you can be on the same page. A lot of sacrifice. Like I'm not gonna sit here and lie. It's a lot of sacrifice. Like I don't know. Going back to what I was saying before, it really just came down to how bad that I want it. Like when I say like that I know life, I literally know life. Like I didn't go anywhere. Like sacrificing even money to try and like invest into like just little tournament, the weekly thing that I had. But yeah, it's just a lot of compromise, a lot of sacrifice. And just explaining to the missus and making that schedule. I think the schedule really helped because before that I was just streaming whenever for as long as I kind of thought was the right amount of time. And then obviously that's where it kind of like me and the missus butt heads because it's like, oh, why don't you run the kids? And this is just real stuff, But I think as long as you explain to your other half, if you have one, if you don't, it can make it a lot easier. But just explaining what it is and creating a schedule, those things I reckon, if I think back, those things like really helped. Now it's a lot different because I've been able to be a part of a lot of opportunities, stuff like that. So like if I kind of say something, I'm not. It's like kind of like normal. Like she knows, you stream stuff, kind of thing. So
Yeah,
Actually,
relax now.
yeah, no, this is actually a really good point I wanted to talk about because we are talking about just streaming in general, right?
Yeah.
I always find that conversation goes a lot easier. Oh, actually, no, I could be wrong. Maybe prove me wrong. Is that conversation easier, like male to female partner? Like like for the because you see some female streamers where their branding is being very risque. Like and so for them to explain to their partner, like, hey, babe, don't worry, it's just it's all for the stream and stuff. Whereas it's, it is about managing that trust, but you do get some sort of gray areas where it's like, but what do you do on stream though? Like,
I reckon that's going into like just how your relationship is in general. That's what I think. That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I don't know, because me and Mrs. just kind of we've been together for ages. We've been together for like 8, almost 9 years now. Like we just kind of trust each other.
Wow, damn, that in itself is a feat too.
So I think it's just we kind of we kind of trust each other, and sometimes like there may be. Oh, actually, no, I better not say that.
Nah, you can't do that to us now. You started.
No, we don't want to follow up interview.
I'm not worried about my wife. I'm worried about like, you never know who's watching or never know who's going to be watching.
No, that's cool.
But some things have happened, yeah?
I'm kind of thinking like, people can take that out of context or anything like that. But
no, that's right. You know what? Let's move that shovel to get deeper.
Honestly, it's just I reckon it's just how your personally how you are in that relationship. If you're all good or not, like you get the same thing whether it's on Twitch or whether, for example, on Instagram or any social media or in real life, like it'll be the same thing. So that's why personally, my personal opinion is it just comes down to like your own relationship. But again, like anything else, just explaining to her what it, like when we first started, explaining to her what it is and like it's never easy as well. Like now it's a little bit trickier, but like last year I went to like PAX and AO and stuff like that, and this is like me going to like Melbourne, by myself, and the fam is still here at home. So obviously there's like a lot of trust going into that. But that's why I think it's it's as if I was doing something else. It's a business trip, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of people in any kind of our situation probably experience something similar. So that's what I reckon it comes down to.
I think when it comes down to gaming, like outside people, they see it in such a small box. Like, you could never make a career. Yeah. Like I can guarantee you, when that teenager won $3 million in that Fortnite tournament, everyone's asking like, oh, Daily, do you play this game? Like,
it suddenly made sense.
They're trying to make sense of the situation.
Yeah.
But you give them those hard realities, like, yes, you can make money off this. Yes, there is a career. Yes, you can explore your creativity. It's like
I guess that's the thing.
To actually notice
is that we need to like explain it in a way that they understand, because everyone understands money. Like, let's be real. So if you explain it to them in that way, then they get it. But
100%. Are there any? Sorry, not to sort of trail off from the question. I was just really curious. Are there any? So I know for a lot of streamers, they want to play the games they love, but obviously they're all ones that are more popular. Is there ever a game that you've always wanted to stream that you haven't? Purely out of because you might not think it might not.
No. Like, I'm very like I preach this a lot. I tell people enjoy yourself, have fun. Like when people ask, what's what can help or some tips on streaming and stuff like that. And the main one that I kind of stress, or one of the main ones that I kind of stress is enjoy yourself, whatever you're doing, whether it's playing video games or like obviously these days you can do anything from go doing like an IRL stream with your mates outside or like freaking cooking or like whatever it is, enjoy yourself. But that's what I say, and I guess that's why I've kind of like switched to Warzone because I just enjoy it a lot more. Like Fortnite has, for me anyway, for now, has kind of slowed down a bit. It doesn't, and I made a I guess in my last YouTube video, like I said it, like it doesn't mean that I'm not going to play Fortnite anymore. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to take part in events. I actually just done a thing with Fortnite on Friday just passed. But for now, like I'm mainly just gonna play Warzone because I'm enjoying this game so much.
It's
even to the point where I'm like, I'm playing it. I usually don't play games as much offline because I try and stick to editing, but it's like literally I have to like force myself not to play because I know I need to edit like 2-3 videos or something like that. It's such a good game.
Can you tell us what are your thoughts on Warzone right now, like the current state of it?
I think that they're in a very interesting spot. They have a lot of opportunity to honestly take over, or even get to a point in where it's like, that or Fortnite. Because at the moment, those are the two biggest games in the world. Yeah, arguably the two biggest games in the world. They can do a lot. They can do a lot here. Obviously, they have the backing. They have the community, like a built-up community already. They got money. They got like Activision and stuff like that. I reckon maybe figure out the loophole that they have at the moment. The first loophole they brought out was awesome. It's real simple, but I feel like maybe they changed the meta a little bit because it didn't cater to the casual player or the new people that like are finally coming across to it. So I think it's pretty good now with what they're doing. Honestly, if they do stuff like bring out custom matchmaking, if they have something similar like Fortnite where they have like online like cash cups where anyone can just kind of join and win money and stuff like that, that will definitely bring it like a whole lot more people. But I think I think maybe they know this already, but I think that what they want to do is they want to make sure that the game is in a good enough state to be able to do that. Like at the moment with hackers, audio not being like perfect at the moment. And then maybe the loophole, maybe the economy, like with the buy station and whatnot. But yeah, that's what I think. I think that they're in an awesome position, an awesome opportunity to really, really just keep going further. Because right now they're still blowing up, and it's only been out for like a month or something like that, or just over a month.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. And I saw something the other day. It was like, yesterday I think 50 million players or something like that. It's nuts, crazy numbers. So
Man, that's big numbers. Yeah, especially. Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, and I saw someone in the chat. Yes, servers. Very, very true, Joshua. True, servers.
Oh, the servers. Yeah.
But hey, that's Blizzard. That's like Blizzard Battle.net.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have mentioned it before, but you did go over Facebook gaming. I mean, you do Twitch now. But
Yeah.
What do you see this? How do you see this battle between Twitch gaming versus Facebook gaming? Because we were kind of talking about this before the podcast.
I guess
yeah.
What Facebook do really, really, really well is reach. You can get awesome reach on Facebook for a number of different reasons. I guess without going into too much detail, there's a lot of controversy and I guess stuff that a lot of people don't know. And I guess if anything, I don't hate on Facebook streamers. I guess if anything, the structure in which how Facebook earns money is a little bit dodgy for me anyway. But I'm just say if you understand, if you know how a lot of the structure in the way of people earn money on there, I just kind of feel sorry for the viewers in a certain way. But it goes a lot deeper, and I don't want to really open up a can of worms, and because there'll be people who may not understand. But like if anything, if we just talk about just purely the streaming and stuff like that, it's awesome for reach and getting more people, because I think what's it called? Facebook really how do you put it? Like it's a social media platform already. You can scroll through, and it's really awesome for like they have like the gaming section and stuff like that. Even if you're like, for example, if you scroll through Facebook, you see like a random Facebook video, you watch it in the video and then it goes to something else. Sometimes you even go to like a random like somebody's live stream. It's crazy like that. So it's awesome for reach, and it's really, really good for people that I guess want to get into it. Like I was saying before, when I first started, I first started streaming on Facebook, and this is a very different time. They didn't have any kind of like structure for money or anything like that. Not that it's ever about that, but you could only stream for like 4 hours at a time. Yeah. They're what's it called? I forgot the actual initials for it, but like when you play music and stuff, they're like super strict around that.
Oh yeah.
Was it DCMA or something like that? I think it is.
Yes.
But yeah, there's I don't know. It was, I guess it just wasn't what's it called? It wasn't built yet to where it is now. It's very, very, very different to where it is now. So I guess at the time, I thought that Twitch was just a better platform for me, because it was already matured. It was already built up to that. So yeah, that's pretty much why I switched. But it's like I think it's good. I think I think Facebook, I guess, as a streaming platform is good. Big shout outs to all the streamers that stream on Facebook, Brazy and them. There's actually quite a lot. There's actually quite a lot of people that are getting into Facebook streaming, stuff like that. There's a big community, especially a lot of people in the poly community as well. They stream on Facebook, so big shout outs to them. Big shout outs to them.
Well, Keone just said that he saw some guys streaming playing COD on Facebook, and he had like 2,000 viewers. Like that's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Even over here, geez, I forgot all the streamers' names. But
Is
there's
it like
some
ReZero?
like UCE that really pop off, like that pull big numbers as well in the thousands and stuff like that. So it's crazy. It's crazy like that. I think their algorithm with how they how you can be seen on Facebook is favored towards that. Like finding new people and stuff like that as well. So yeah.
Oh, actually, also we should give a shout out to your sponsor. All this hard work, and you're now associated with Mindfreak. Can you go into the relationship?
Oh man,
Mindfreak is like I guess one of the hashtags is Mind Family, and it literally is like before when I first started getting into it a bit more, like I was always kind of like, oh no, I can not do my own thing, but like just kind of I'm good where I'm at. And then it kind of got to a point where it was like, man, maybe it might be good to kind of join an org or anything like that. And I actually spoke to a few different orgs within. They're all in Australia. They're all in Australia. Mindfreak being one of them. Big shout outs to also Nazo. Nazo was actually the dude who kind of got me to talk to somebody from there. He's another person in the poly community that's doing big things as well. But I spoke to them and I just clicked. The guy that I spoke to, Mitch. Big shout outs to Mitch. I think we had an interview planned for like half an hour. We ended up speaking for almost 2 hours, just vibing and just talking about just all sorts of stuff. But no, Mindfreak is like a family, man. It's crazy the opportunities that they've been able to bring, and it's crazy how much support that they have for me. I don't know. I was just so happy to join them. So big shout out to them. Big shout out to Naked. Go, far out, all of them. There's too many people to name. it's that good, and it's
so many people.
I don't know. Yeah, there's so many people that do so many good things, and it's literally like everyone is doing their own thing. But like if you need to reach out, you can reach out to someone, and you just like click straight away. Like all the people in the Overwatch, that do the Overwatch stuff. Rocket League as well. I think some of them played their games today. Far out. The Fortnite boys as well. So it's crazy. Big love for Mindfreak, man, and all the sponsors as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we'll just start to wrap up a little bit, man. What's been your toughest moment growing as SoleKefs?
Just like when I was working full time, just the grind to work full time and stream, try and push out stream at the same time. That I guess just a lot of like nights where I'd probably only like throughout the whole week maybe sleep like 10 hours, altogether. It's that's all I could think about. Those are like the harder times, I reckon. So
okay. What's the next big change you'd like to see for Warzone?
Online competitive money, even if it's a little bit, I think that will bring a lot more people. But obviously this is after they fixed all the issues. But yeah, online competitive stuff that'll really push it, I reckon. But yeah.
Okay. No, that's it from me. Keone, if you
the only sort of question I wanted to ask, because I remember you. Sorry, I think my mic was cutting a bit. When you first started streaming, it was a lot different than now. Are there any sort of like features or things you would want to see implemented into Twitch that you think would really help? Something that they haven't done yet, but something that you've sort of struggled with daily, that if they could fix that or add that to a functionality would make it. I was just always curious because people always come up with different functions that they're like,
they're trying like the whole discoverability thing, and they're doing well. I think it's just tricky. I guess it's just tricky when you compare it to other, like for example, if you compare it to Facebook, obviously it's a social media platform in itself. So I guess discoverability on Twitch, but they are doing things to kind of do that. One thing that I do miss though is when they had communities. This was ages ago. I don't know if you remember, they had communities where anyone could kind of just, if somebody just made a community, anyone could just kind of join that community, and you could click on it and you could see all the streamers that were connected to that community, if that makes sense. It's kind of like the teams that they have now. but you don't have to be partnered. Like anyone could just make them. I really really miss those that, because that was a cool way for me to kind of find other Polynesian streamers and stuff like that. Because I don't know, that's a big thing for me, like helping other Polynesian streamers and out there that are trying to do it, and just kind of show them that, you know, like a lot of other people are doing it. Why can't we too? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I don't know, discoverability maybe. But besides that, I'm pretty. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with anything on there.
No, that's good.
I'm all good. That's a really good question, to be honest. When I think about it, it's a tricky one. So
Alright.
yeah.
Cool. All right. So I don't really have a question. It's more like something that I've always like been proud of you for, because I remember like we've had a conversation, I think it was maybe a year before that, where you set out your 10-year goal, and one of them was to get partnered and join an org.
Oh, yeah.
And in a year you've done that, and so you know, I just want to see like what advice do you have for somebody who's looking to do that? Like they've been streaming for a while, their next step is to move into something a bit more serious. Like you know, you've got sponsors now, you got an org, you're partnered, like you know, you're doing you got the dream, man. Like so yeah, what advice do you have for anyone out there that's looking to that step?
Don't stop. Do not stop. Do not let do not let people sway you from your dream. You know, keep going. Don't let the opinion of one decide like who you are and what you want to do, what content you want to create. Have fun. Always enjoy yourself. If you're not enjoying yourself, try and make changes to a point where you are. People don't get too caught up in the numbers. Understand them, but don't let them get you down. You know, if you are genuinely enjoying yourself, there will be people out there that will enjoy it with you. And know why you're doing it. Know your why. Know your why. There's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong around that. You know, if you want to do it for money, you know, go get your bag. You know what I mean? But understand, or you know, if you're doing it for fun, that's cool as well. But understand that how you know what the reason why, this is what I think anyway. The reason why you do it is how you measure your success. You know, you could be the best content creator, have the best, you know, have the best stream in the world, but if you're powered by money and if you don't get any subs in one night, you probably maybe think in your head like, oh no, I'm doing really bad. But you could really have the best stream that nobody's just seen yet. So know your why, and keep that focus into, you know, the days that you feel like you don't want to stream, or the times where you're like, man, is this what I want to do? Go back to that. And if it's something that you've really given your all, and if it's not working out, then that's cool. There's nothing wrong with you know, figuring out, like, you know, that this is what you've done. But if it is, don't stop. Don't worry about the haters. There's a lot of them online. They'll never go away. I promise you, they will never, ever, ever go away at any stage of streaming. I guess career, if you want to put it like that. But don't stop. Keep going.
Awesome, man.
Nice. All right, I've been moved by this. All right.
I don't know. Like this is like oh man. When I say that, it's like I just think about all the stuff that I kind of been through before, and yeah, I mean that, like, those words, like, hand over heart, just like truly what I believe in. So keep going.
Yeah,
I
nice.
mean, for the SoleKefs haters, come in. It's not a joke, man.
It's not a joke. All right.
So, yeah,
we've got a few more questions from the chat. We just got 3.
Sure.
The first one was from Marcus Powell, and that was at the beginning of the stream. He asked, how much time do you spend on streaming, and then how much on networking and social media to network and promote your stream and brand?
This is actually such a good question, and I honestly believe that the correct answer would be with what time you have. So I guess if we go by percentages, because it will be different for everyone, yeah. I would say honestly maybe 30% to streaming, 30% actually streaming. I reckon like a bulk of your time is social media / networking, if you kind of put it in the same thing. And depending on how you're doing it, because each of their own, like me, with a lot of my like overlays and graphics and editing and stuff like that, I do it all myself. So that takes up the other big chunk of time. So yeah, it's a tricky one, but I'd say like you're like actually going live and stuff like that. I guess effort-wise, that would be the least for me, because that's, again, like I was saying before, that's the fun part. That's when I can just kick back and chill with everyone else and ask how everyone's day was. You kind of get a bit social and whatnot. But a lot for me anyway, a lot goes into the back end. A lot goes into actually setting stuff up, talking to people, emailing, social media, editing is a big one. But yeah, I don't know how to put an exact hour amount of time on it, but that's how I do my stuff anyway. That's how I manage my stuff anyway. So yeah.
Nice. Busy guy. Next question comes from Carter Davies, and his question was, what season of Fortnite was your favorite?
Oh, geez, five, I'd say.
Ooh, how come?
I think like, was it 5, 6? That's not really when I was like doing customs and stuff like that. But I feel like Fortnite was in a pretty balanced state. I guess after that, that's because I think 6, 7 was when they started to even do stuff with the battle pass changes that I noticed, where they kind of split it up a bit and they got people to try and play the game a lot more instead of just enjoy the game, and the challenges kind of But yeah, that's what I reckon. Maybe 5 or 6.
5 or 6. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last question comes from Mrs.82, and she asks, what would your advice be for someone wanting to get back into streaming?
I was about to say, it's like, I'm pretty sure she streams. I was about to say, hey, do it. There's man, I guess another thing I've said, real life comes first. Real life comes first always for me, at the drop of a hat. Like, I know that sounds real extreme, but like if I had to, like if something came out on the family and it got to a point where I couldn't stream anymore, that family of everything,
Yeah.
People go through stuff all the time. Don't ever don't feel bad if real life gets in the way, or if you have other responsibilities and stuff like that that you need to attend to, or whatever it is. Doesn't have to be anything big or small, whatever. Do it. Like if I guess that's the cool thing with content creation, or even art in general, music, dance, etc. I feel like there's no right or wrong. Like, what you make of it is yours. Like I used to do art in school. And I understand it now, but I hated being marked, because I thought in my head, like, well, this is what I want to do, like, why is it right or wrong kind of thing. So I kind of feel the same way with content creation and streaming. There's no right or wrong. You create your content, and if people enjoy it, that's dope. If people don't, that's cool. You enjoyed yourself. But that's what I think anyway. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I know I said that was the last question, but like, when you're at a family gathering and you say goodbye all the way to the car, that's what we're doing.
No, honestly, I got nothing else planned for the rest of the day. You guys, as much time as you guys need.
Did you hear that? More questions. Nah. Okay, so this one is the last question. Okay, chat. This one right here. This one's from Carter Davies. Hey, shush. Okay, this is from Carter. Right?
Yeah.
Carter Davies asked, do you watch any New Zealand streamers, and who are your favorites?
Oh man, I can't play favorites. I'm the wrong person to ask.
Be careful here, mate. There's 3 streamers right here.
Timo and Okiwan Keone are great answers.
Yeah.
So was Drex.
What are you talking about?
Just go with it.
I do watch a lot of streamers from New Zealand and Australia. I love to watch like local. I love to support local and watch people from Australia, New Zealand, and obviously overseas and stuff like that as well. But I don't know, it's interesting, and you can vibe a lot easier. You can relate a lot easier. You know what I mean. So yeah. I think that's probably, if I think about it now, like that's probably the reason why. But yeah, I do watch a lot of Australia and New Zealand streamers. But my favorite, I don't want to say, because then I know I'm gonna forget someone, and I'll be like, oh damn, I forgot that person.
Wise man, you tried to trap him, but he saw it. He saw it. All right, that's all the questions. Yeah. But.
Cool. That's everything from chat. I think we're gonna. But I had one last real quick question.
See, saying goodbye all the way to the car.
No, because it's just to run off nicely.
Yeah.
What was you had written on your whiteboard? Because I've got one in the back corner here. And I feel like it would be appropriate. You said you had something written up. What was it? It was a saying. Just
it was, how bad do you want it?
Yeah. How bad do you want it? And it's like, because the doors to get out of this room is over here. This is going this way. So it's literally every time I walk out, as long as my door's not like wide open, but I see it. I see it all the time, and it just reminds me. Any time you kind of feel like, oh mate, like kind of feel tired. Yeah, it just how bad do you want the dream? You know,
Karma reinforcement, right?
Yeah. You just
No, I love it.
You do it. You just
But
keep
then,
going.
like, the cool thing about
Yeah.
that is that when your kids walk in and out of the room, they see that too. Like, and they're like, yeah, I agree with Dad on this one.
I've got a scenario where they ask him for chocolate, and then he says no. They turn around and says, "How bad do you want it?" They turn back around. They're like, "Well, actually, I want it pretty bad."
I'm surprised they haven't come in now. They come in the especially on streaming stuff. They come in all the time, but I'm surprised they haven't come through now. I don't know.
They behave very well.
Probably watching YouTube somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
Watching the interview too, they're like,
Yeah. Probably eating the Easter eggs. Probably eating chocolate. Something like that.
"Oh, that's
So-
why it's Easter."
Yeah, Easter. So with Keone and T-Mod's permission, I've got a little sign-off. So, SoleKefs, you have emerged from out of the shadows. So where do we find where do we get the Team Kefe shirts, mate? Where do we find those?
So honestly, SoleKefs on any major social media platform and on Twitch. I mainly stream almost every day. I'd say at least 5 days a week. Usually in the evenings, I do the odd day stream. I'm most active, I'd say, on Instagram and Twitter. But yeah, if you search up SoleKefs, SoleKefs on any major social media platform, you should see me.
Awesome, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming by. That was we love the interview.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Awesome.
Anytime, honestly, anytime. You hit me up, you need me.
Man, well, we'll definitely have you back in
Somebody-
future. Fans seem to love it.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you.
cool. Thank you so much. All right.
Peace.
See you guys.
Iggy.
Okay. So
All
it's
right,
just
so- Oh,
us two again. Man, that was a really good interview. Like,
And that's the problem when you run up to another Polynesian brother. It's just like one of the family. You know it's
Yeah.
gonna go along, all right.
oh, we're still streaming by the way, because we're still like.
yeah, still, yeah.
Oh, man just want to leave. You can stay. You can stay. Kid.
Yeah,
you want to
can
stay?
still see us on the back end. No, that's really great. Honestly, man, shout out to those for all the advice you gave, especially for someone like me, man. Because I remember when I first jumped into Shadow, I was trying to hit that streaming grind. That's great advice. Who were the winners? Did we get anyone in the chat that spotted that?
Yeah,
that little
we
lucky
did.
one that- yeah,
But
Insider logo?
we'll announce it at the end, just because we gotta verify that people are following. You know, they did all the steps. You know, one of them was to
Yeah.
find the logo, and the other one was to follow the chat. So I'll
Well, okay, yeah,
let
we'll
our
shout
admin.
them out once we get to that. But yeah, man, this is what a topic. I feel like for a lot of people, because I mentioned last week how when I was in Playtech most recently, there was like a girl shopping with her mum for a streaming rig. It's so cool to see people just like accepting it as like a thing that you can do, you know.
Yeah.
And as from our from SoleKefs we had on the show, that really is the evidence, you know. And that tagline, like how bad do you want it? Just man, you can see it coming to fruition right in front of your eyes. It's just a beautiful thing. I love it.
I just admire the fact that he's a father. He's got a lot of kids. He's got a family, and generally, a man will they'll turn down the streaming life to be a better man, a better father. But it's really good to see his actions are quite admirable, trying to balance that streaming, growing himself, as well as being the family man that he needs to be. So it's kudos to him, man. Kudos to him.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's definitely a lot harder to crack into it when you've got like a wife and kids. But what I think is really great too is seeing that balance in a good way. Because you hear about sometimes like streamer fatigue. You can hear about some people being imbalanced, but it's nice to see an example of it, of great balance. One thing I was actually, I didn't get to ask this, but I wonder if his kids ever got into gaming. Like, how would that be? Because that's the next trip for me. Is the next generation.
He's shaking his head.
So shaking.
I
but you know what
mean,
Like,
if
we're talking about how we're the start of it, and it's so cool for us. But imagine like his kids and the next generation and stuff. They're gonna be entering a world where this is automatic. Like, I feel like they're gonna enter a world where like 2035, everyone's just live streaming 24/7. You know, like it's just like a way of life.
Yeah, it's not just chat. It's not just Twitch. It's also the other platforms that they had. So it's Instagram, Snapchat. Like, this is actually it's kind of like being in the cotton candy store if you're a real young kid. Like, the world of social media is so huge, and the reach is just endless. And obviously, through SoleKefs' experience, you can kind of see how someone can really use that and kind of make a career out of it. So yeah, I mean, his kid's definitely a game. He's just confirming it in the chat.
Mm.
But I feel
But
bad
that's-
for him, man.
yeah,
That's a lot of kids to monitor.
He's gonna have to moderate a lot of chats.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but that's what I think is the cool thing about people like SoleKefs is they really do pave the way for people, even like us, like honestly, myself included, man. Like
Yeah.
people like that make this a possibility. So the fact that we can even do a podcast about streamers is kudos to them as well. You know, like they have to operate and keep making their content for sort of us to be able to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, I love it. Anyways, I think it's about time for all of us with the the technical difficulties prior. Oh, yes.
I was just thinking we should go over the first topics that we had just for the people that are here now.
Yeah,
just
for the
because,
lecture, that's right, 'cause they might have missed that.
They would have missed it because I know they missed it because it was choppy and buffering at the beginning. So we'll go over it again just so that they can weigh in on it as well.
Yeah, so I feel like during the interview we talked a lot about the different platforms and sort of like the pros and cons of each of the platforms. One thing that we asked SoleKefs as well is about whether streaming the game, and you're saying how you should just do what makes you happy and like to put your effort into it. But interesting is when we looked up the most played games in New Zealand, they were nothing to match sort of the titles you think they would be. And it's really interesting how many people might not know that there's a scene out there. I think one of the biggest sports ones was FIFA. And I was so confident it was going to be NBA 2K because like everyone and their dog plays 2K. But it seems like everyone, dog and cat, play FIFA because they just put up way bigger numbers, But from my knowledge, I can't recall many FIFA streamers. Now, that might be, my sort of mistake of not watching FIFA streamers. But yeah, I just never thought that like the biggest sports game in New Zealand, I feel like there would be a prominent streamer to match.
Yeah, that's true. But then when you think of like like I'm with you. When you think of big streaming sports games streamed, like if it's not FIFA, if it's not NBA,
what would it be beyond that?
I mean, the NFL games have actually got quite a bit of a following here. But then you've got the WWE games now, and you've got people that are fans of not only the sport but who follow the comics because now they have a comic series. And I mean, it's a sport, like it's quite a spectacle, that kind of sport, It is actually quite nice it's actually quite cool to watch.
Yeah, for sure. What was some of that? Do we have that? We don't obviously don't bring it up on screen, but does anyone remember what some of the other games were?
It was
list to me.
Broken down into like PS4, Xbox, and PC. So like, if we'll look at the PS4 ones first. So like. The top game was FIFA, and like, bruh. Hold on, one second, hold up.
That's okay. FIFA, NBA, Borderlands. Wait, really? That Borderlands was number 3?
Yeah, Borderlands is number 3. Kenny,
Jared, I think
you're muted.
bro.
I'll chime in on that one. I believe Borderlands 3 was so high on their list, that's when it came out. Yeah, because I believe that list was curated something like September, November last year, and I remember the end of last year talking a lot about Borderlands 3. So I feel like that's why it's high up there on the list. But FIFA is still the one that's like surprising me because I
can give this knowledge because I used to work in a retail store because you have FIFA, but then you could buy like coins and packs so that you could buy players and stuff. Like when it comes to like ultimate teams, that's a thing as well. Yeah. Like it may not be high in terms of value, but in terms of what you're spending to get the content, the players, like for competitive, I guess that's where it could be a bit.
That's true because I play obviously I play a lot of Madden, so I know what you mean by ultimate teams on that. Yeah, you gotta put in a pretty penny to really get some good characters coming out of that.
If you want that Ronaldo, man.
Yeah. With their top stats. Oh man. So what was there any other interesting games on that list? Because I was so obsessed with when we were reading about it. Because obviously we were having that discussion with them.
I think I posted the link. I don't have the other ones up.
Yeah, no, that's all good. I just wanted to refer back to it because there was a game I really wanted to. But just here we go. I found it. So one interesting one here, because you see NBA 2K was second to FIFA, which again is still like See, because Marvel Spider-Man, I'm pretty sure that came out at the same time. Minecraft was the one I was wanting to look at.
Oh
The
wow.
reason why I wanted to know is recently, and this is less about, actually, you could technically involve this in streaming. There's a current Build the World project. I don't know if anyone's seen this in the chat, but it's basically they're trying to recreate a 1-to-1 scale of the world in Minecraft. And so there have been people that have been streaming them building their streets. And it's just such an out of it thing. Yeah, like in another country, they're like sitting there, like looking at their front yard on Google Maps and then trying to build it in Minecraft. Because the way it works is, because you have to build it first, take a picture of it or send it to them, and then they can approve it and then add it to the actual build that they've got going. But it's this crazy ass project. But it's just things like that really make me streaming community.
Even outside of just that project, like people who stream Minecraft are so creative. Like the things that they come up with. Like I think there was a community, I forgot who it was, and they rebuilt Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And then like another streamer that I know, King Crew, who's a New Zealand streamer, he like whenever he has his Minecraft streams, it's community based, so there's a whole story behind it, there's a whole adventure, you have to like find things and certain things change the outcome of the game, but it's just Minecraft. Like it that game, I'm not surprised it's really big just because it allows you to do whatever you want, and then it's also so relaxing, like just chopping a tree is so good.
Yeah. Just some real casual, like leisurely things. I always wondered with a game, like a VR game that did that. Like you chuck on the VR goggles and it's just you doing like a blissful walk. That's the entire content of the game. I'm sure that's going to come out.
You can actually play Minecraft in like a VR. Have you ever seen it before?
Get out of here!
No, I haven't actually, but that's so dope.
Yeah. It's actually. It's a bit irritating to set it up from what I've seen, but I've seen it in action, and it's as you said, Timon, it's amazing, like just building it, but actually really being in the game and actually seeing the blocks form. Yeah, it's really something.
That's really cool. I'd love to do that. See, these are the things that like. Whenever I talk to people who they ask a question like, man, like what should I do to get into streaming? You know, we say just to do it. Like, man, there are so many things I wish people streamed so I could watch it. Like, I feel like when you're wanting to create the content, you're like, man, is my content relevant? But I always tell people, you don't know the relevance of your content till it hits. You know, like you might have an idea that you start putting into fruition and then it just catches like wildfire. Because I remember SoleKefs was talking about those custom games he used to run, right? And that, you know, like that initial thing like sounded like it just like took off like wildfire, which is a thing that like I'm sure even like the kill comp I was talking about where me and my mates, because my mate messaged me and he was like, yo, I was just in GIF's kill comp and I laid a 12 stack and I was like, oh, maybe you won it. And to be too late, he's like, damn, the next guy after me landed 15. I was like, all good, re-enter, like just jump back in the queue and do it. Maybe I'll jump in too. And we tried to line it up. I think we ended up like registering at different times. So like it was in a different, but yeah. So but this is like what I mean. Like it's cool things like that really define a stream. Like, you know, can really define a stream, man. Like that one weekly thing that you do can bring people back. I remember there was an art stream I used to watch where they would just take suggestions from chat and just draw different characters in different ways. And that's the thing is like, man, people would sit there for like a solid 7 hours just to wait to see what they commented in chat to get drawn.
Yeah, and then you've got like people now like SoleKefs mentioned Nazo. He sometimes streams and he shows you, because he's a beat maker as well. So he shows you how he makes his beats and he teaches you how to use the software. And it's like, it's not just a gaming platform anymore. It's like let me show you what I can do. And these are things that he like, his talents and his hobbies that he's now sharing with everyone. So like, I feel like for streaming, it's just whatever you want to put out there. It might not seem like there's a community for you, but if
it's going to be accessible to someone.
Yeah, someone's going to find it, and that one person's going to like it, and then it's just going to attract more people, and next thing you know, you're like teaching all these people how to make beats, or you're creating this really wicked Minecraft server, or like some people like that's how just chatting streams started, because people just get on and talk, or like it's there's something out there for everybody, no matter what it is that you want to stream. So why be selective with your game? If the genre is just like whatever. Yeah, I like, for us as streamers, like, do you, Keone, like, do you play TFT because like it's a thing, or do you play because you genuinely enjoy playing it?
Oh yeah, I play it because I enjoy playing it. Like the thing is, when I'm off stream, I'm playing it too. Like if I've got 30 minutes and my mobile's in my hand, I'll just fire up a game of TFT. So I definitely play it just like, even if I didn't stream it, I would have still played it
Yeah.
all the way through. But I do know that can be hard for some people. They're like, man, I love this game, but it's just like there's probably two other people in the world that play it.
Yeah.
But like I can confess, as someone to, I will just watch a stream out of curiosity. So sometimes I'll just see on Twitch, I'll just see something and go, oh, I'll just tune into that. Especially when it came to TFT, I came across the #1 ranked Philippines player, and I was the only person in his chat, like watching the stream, and I was so bewildered. Like I was like, man, this guy's the #1 ranked player in that server, and like, I'm the only one in the stream at that time. And so
Are you
we
sure you
talked.
didn't catch him at enough time though?
No, so the thing is, he just got into it, which was the crazy thing to think about it. So he had hit like the highest rank, but he was fresh to streaming. So when I was talking to him, it was interesting to talk to someone who had all the skills of the game, but didn't really know, like his page was bare. Like there was nothing at the bottom. He kind of just, I think because he got the rank, he was like, man, I want to stream my gameplay and get people into watching it. So like that's another thing. Like you would never think, people think like streams that don't have much, like might be a bit of a lower end person, but like the #1 Philippines player for TFT, I actually learned so much from his stream because it was just him and I.
Yeah, that's actually one thing I didn't ask him, and I'll keep it in mind if it ever comes back. It's just the fact that, like, when you're growing yourself on, say, Twitch, you kind of having that awareness of social media and how you are coming across the platforms. Because I like what I'm saying is, like, generally you'll have people that may not even use Twitter and Instagram, and they need to. And then you've got people that are getting into streaming. Oh, I need to look at Instagram and Twitter, but the way that they communicate through it, like, I guess it's finding that, because what they're like on Twitch, but I think it's discovering that flavor, like, like this is like this is what my Twitter will be like, this is what my Insta will be like, rather than using it as follow me yada 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 on Twitter, follow yada 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 on the Instagram. Like it should have its own kind of flavor.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
for
like
sure.
I know one group of gamers, Bopper Gaming, they're really good at doing that. So their Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, they put all their content on it, but it suits the site that it's on. And like for TikTok, they've like exploded. They've got like 15K followers. They've only had their page up for a month, and it's all just their gaming content, like clips from there. But somehow it fits the TikTok like platform. It wouldn't fit Twitter or Instagram for some reason. I haven't really thought about why, but like it's just working
No,
for
I
them.
definitely, yeah. You're definitely right on content suiting what it's like, the platform it's for. That's actually some good advice to anyone who's listening and maybe wanting to streaming. Make the most of all your socials, because you have to remember is that gamers, being so into technology, are also so into apps and socials. Like I find that gamers I meet actually are the more active on social platforms, sometimes more than other people.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
the
or, I
influencers.
mean, it could. I mean, for me, I think it just comes down to distinguishing what your voice is and what your style is on each platform. So like there are people I know that they use their Twitter solely for tech, or for like thoughts on patch notes and stuff. And then when you go to Instagram, it is literally living their life in the day of that person. They'll take photos of where they are, what they're eating, and then maybe for Snapchat, it's just literally like memes and stuff. Like I guess it's nice that you can use each platform to kind of explore, your what style of content you want to do. But yeah, that's it for me.
No, yeah, that's not. But you're exactly right because I've seen cases where people will try and force a type of branding or a type of style onto the wrong platform, and it's really evident.
Or
You
no,
know,
it's just when all the social media is like it's all the same. It's like the same. It's like the same post. It may be a different image, but it's technically the same post. It's just spread out through the social medias, and it's like,
yeah.
this is your time to experiment, mate. You know, it's like find your flavor. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
Jared.
the other thing is like people's personality need like naturally will come through when they're playing a game that they genuinely enjoy as well, and then you take that and you put it into your social media, and whoever's following you there can also see that you're genuinely enjoying what you're doing, and so from wherever you post, ultimately it just brings people back to your stream. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was terrible on social media management. I have to throw my hands up on that one too. And I'm pretty sure everyone at Shadownet went up too. I was always the worst at like posting up that I was going to stream. Like the thing is, I'm comfortable on stream, but it is that outside management that SoleKefs was talking about, which is really like, man, I have to admit it is a difficult thing to balance because it's almost like you have to plan ahead and you always have to be going ahead. Oh wow, man, that made.
oh
I'm
hey
not sitting
Drax,
right on the other side of
welcome
that
to the
screen
stream.
there. Yeah.
It's been dark, man. We've been nearly at it for 2 hours now.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
damn.
goodness. Good golly goshness we have.
And we just had
it's
a
'cause
thank
we-
you from SoleKefs. No, it's been a real pleasure from us, man.
Yeah, he
Um,
he was literally lurking in the background, just
Mm.
and he was answering questions in the chat as well.
Oh, that's great. That's cool.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it's so good to have him on board.
what a guy, right?
Yeah, what a
So-
guy.
Yeah, so next episode, topic to be determined. Maybe another guest, who knows? But yeah,
Wait,
no.
Who knows? Maybe I'll wear a onesie. Who knows?
Please don't.
Whoa.
Oh,
Hey,
Marcus!
what do you
Oh,
mean?
Marcus literally said out of the shadows because Drax turned on the light.
Well played.
Well played, Marcus. Well played.
That's actually that's perfect. All right.
One
that
thing
was
that I
You should be
did.
given something just for that. Oh, yeah. You should be
Yeah.
given something
We'll
just for
think. We'll
that.
think about
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
But
that was brilliant.
one thing that I did want to touch on because I saw it in the chat, people were talking about equipment for streaming when you're starting out, and honestly, like when you're starting out, I recommend just making the most of whatever you have, because streaming isn't for everyone. Like if you go past the 3 month mark, then I would recommend you start investing in like the next piece of gear, like depending on like your financial state. But if you find yourself falling off within the first couple of months, then at least you haven't invested like thousands of dollars into all this equipment that you're not going to be using like later down the line. What's your guys' opinion on that?
Yeah, so I'll try and topic, especially. I always say exactly what you're saying, like do it with what you have. So like if you've just got a computer but you don't have a webcam, honestly just stream camless. Because like that's not always like yes, it's cool to have those, but those are essentially sort of things like you said you can invest in once you've got it. Like I made the mistake, and luckily, man, a friend of mine helped me out of getting like the best kind of camera and mic. That's how come I've got a Blue Yeti mic. But I did this. This was like maybe 2 years ago, and see, my involvement in streaming itself hasn't been as strong, even though I'm still in gaming. So I have to agree with what you were saying there, Ange. Like just to do it first, and then once you sort of build up to that level, if you're ready to commit and put in the dollar, then yeah, by all means, that's when you want to start maybe chucking a few thousand into it, you know, and actually making a career of it. But definitely try it first, because it's free to try. It's essentially free. Just set up the program, go stream, and just have some mates in and just try it out and get a feel for it first before you put money into equipment. But that would be sort of things like a camera and a mic, because your gaming equipment, like your computer, should always be at a good level to stream, so you don't have that sort of bottleneck. But once you're outside of that, yeah, definitely try it first, and then by all means blow as much money as you want.
Yeah,
I know I have.
and even if you only have a console as well, just make sure you have like a good headset. And I know some people are really shy to get a cam. Like I have a couple of streaming friends who like hella shy, but as they kept streaming, like they had a good mic, they had good content, they would jam. Eventually they got a cam, but they made it work for them. So like one of the boys, King Kaust, he would only show his eyebrows because he didn't want everyone to see his face. And then one of my other friends, Apoc, she would always wear a hoodie, and so it'll be dark, but you can like see her. So like, you know, so and then eventually from that, they're just like, you know what, stuff it. Like, you already know what it looks like.
Well,
but,
I mean, that can be a part of their. That can be a part of their, you know, branding, I suppose.
Yeah.
But then, with covering your face, with being obscure and anonymous, the effort into keeping that will actually be a lot more. There's a lot more than what I think people care to admit. You know what I mean? Because eventually, it's like your mates are gonna wonder, like, oh, why are you wearing a hoodie and glasses inside?
And maintaining their anonymity. Yeah,
it's maintaining it, I suppose, because you know people can put the dots together and see what's going on.
Yeah, they can see you and they know you're streaming. One thing I wanted to, I had it right on the tip of my tongue. I'll come back to it if I remember, but it was. Oh, this is gonna bug me. I hate when this happens. I was like, really, was something. Yes. There is a streamer, and I forget his name. He's an American dude. He streams with the like the face capture. So it's not his face. It's like a cat that wears a samurai hat.
Oh, the face rig.
Yeah. So the mouth of the cat, obviously, it looks like the cat speaking as if it's him. So it's not his face, but that's his branding. Is he uses that cat for all his socials, and whenever he's live streaming, it's basically that cat is his cam. So whenever he speaks, the cat mouth moves. Yeah, you know. So there's always a solution around it. Like, and it may be a bit more out there than you think. Like, because people would think like, oh, just don't have a cam if you're not. But say, no, if you want some sort of representation of you, it can just be an icon or something on screen, a character. You know, it can be your stream can be what you create in every sense of it. Like,
it's literally up to
even
you.
Yeah, exactly. The schedule, the content, like the when you want to do it, like how you want to do it, like whether you're going to do 1 game, 10 games, like really go for it because it is at the end of the day, it's your stream and you can do whatever you want with it. Like that guy with the cat, like I'm sure because he started like I've followed it since his start. And he's had that cat model talk as him since the beginning. So it's like that was his forethought going into it. He's probably like, man, I don't want to be on camera. I don't know. People don't know what I look like. So I'm going to have this cat wear a samurai helmet and it's going to talk for me. And it's he's been doing it for a few years. I'll have to find out. If anyone's curious, I'll find out his name and link it on my socials because I love watching his content. Yeah. Have we
yeah, we've got our winners.
Beautiful. Be nice to shout them out just before we wrap up.
Yeah, so the first one, hold on. I'm gonna laugh. I wrote it down. I swear I did. Okay, so the first one goes out to Marcus Powell. Big ups to you.
Yeah.
You caught the first one. And then the second one goes out to Carter Davies.
Man, they were really active in the chat too with the questions.
Yeah, they were.
I recognize the names, well. I like to see. That's all about the consistency, guys.
Yeah, this is. I'll be honest, Marcus was here last week.
Well, no, thanks to them for listening in. And if you guys are still there, message us your Twitter as well because when they post it on Twitter, they'll want to try and link you guys. So yeah, if you're still listening or if someone could pass that on, message us your Twitter so we can link you in that. Yeah,
we love to celebrate our community.
Yeah.
All our agents.
Oh, Marcus did make a good point here, though. He's like, I know parents have looked into things like that for their kids as well since they were a little bit concerned for online privacy. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I never thought about that. This is what I mean about the state of streaming is really going to change even more so once you've got a younger generation in it. Because I feel like when it was sort of our generation up, we were all sort of old enough. But now we've got kids who are like, we've actually got people who are like still in their early teens wanting to get into this big streaming and sort of influencer life.
Yeah.
There's an interesting, like argument to be made that there should be some anonymity. Yeah, that's it. Anonymity for younger people.
Yeah, I've actually got experience with that because my nephew, a few years ago, like, kind of my fault, but I introduced him to streaming, and so he started streaming, and like the rule was he couldn't have a face cam on, he couldn't actually say his name, and he could only stream to me and his sisters. And honestly, like, dude's a natural A. Like, man is out here, like, first of all, he was killing people in Fortnite. Like, he had, like, 5 kills. And I'm like, first of all, how'd you do that? And he was just, like, talking us through it, telling us what he, like, it was so natural for him. And I was very jealous. But those were the rules. He couldn't tell anybody about his stream unless it was family. And we couldn't share his stream either, just to keep him safe. But yeah,
that's a really cool way to do it. Like, keep it like a family only stream. That's actually something cool to think about, especially if they're wanting to support kids into something like that. That's another great way to do it, just like a small stream. I have heard of people doing that before, where they'll only stream like on private links and send it to people, and their mates can sort of jump in and interact during that time.
I guess we're just highlighting that point about when you are on a platform, you're definitely, like, you won't be amongst a basket of roses. You're definitely going to run into some, not crazy, but maybe just a bit more, a few people a bit rough around the edges, whether it just be in dialect or world opinions. And when they obviously come to a streamer who's young, who's still trying to find out things about themselves, it's obviously going to get messy. I guess I agree with what you're saying, Keone. I guess it's finding a way for young streamers to grow, but still having that safe net where they can kind of explore and not have that, I guess I'll say, corrupted influence.
Well, yeah, because there was that whole terrible streak of things happening on YouTube, and when they had the adpocalypse, because there was this whole network of, like, it was the whole pedophilia thing, where there was, like, people watching underage, like, innocent content, but they were viewing it in a perverse way. And so they were, the way that they were manipulating the content was completely out of the person's control. So it'll be like something like some young girls will upload, like, I don't know, a video of them swimming. And to them, it's just like, hey, it's a fun family video. It's me and my friends. What's the worst that's going to happen? And then you have all these, people on the internet start doing it. I believe the biggest problem was they were tagging timestamps for, like, something that they would be interested in. And so other people who, they started viewing it, and it was crazy. You see these young kids' videos with like 300,000 views, and it was only because of that. So it's definitely important to make sure that we're keeping people safe online. And, beyond trolls, like I'm saying, like, you're always going to have trolls and you're always going to have naysayers. You just kind of have to protect yourself from that. But definitely those types of people that could enter a young person's stream and maybe twist it out of, in a terrible way outside of that stream's control is definitely important for the younger people out there, or parents who may have kids that are going to get into streaming. Just things to keep in mind.
Yeah, definitely, man.
All right, so that's according to my clock, it's just gone past 6. All going on plan would have just gone past 5, but I think that'll be a great time to wrap up, if that's fine with
man. No offense, you guys, but I'm really hungry right now.
Yeah, I've got some Final Fantasy 7 to get back to. I've got to get back in the shadows.
We've got one more thing. So we're doing a surprise giveaway to our 500th like and follower.
500?
Yeah, we made it to 500, guys. How freaking cool is that?
Goodness. Who's the wonderful person who's helped push our self-confidence through the roof?
That was Darren Tufunga. So you need to DM the team, and we'll send you a lucky dragon to say thank you.
Oh, yay! Darren Tufunga, was it? Yeah. Right.
So,
congratulations, man.
Yeah, congrats, and thank you for being our 500 like on Facebook. It's so awesome. Oh my.
But yeah, no, I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much to everyone.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Especially for the beginning of the stream. That was like the fact you guys came back. Awesome. Next week, same time, same place.
So I believe next week we actually have to be a little bit later because has to work his day job, which we'll go through.
So I'm an essential worker, so yeah, it'll have to be probably after. But yeah, next week it might be a bit later, but
yeah, we'll post up on socials. Remember, guys, at ShadownetGG on all socials, up to date, and thanks for tuning in.
Yay! Cool. Bye, everyone.
See ya.